Welcome to this explainer. We're jumping straight in today to decode an absolute architectural marvel of the corporate world. We're talking about Apple's highly defensible walled garden strategy, and specifically how it's morphing into an impenetrable stronghold right in the middle of the 2026 AI boom. If you've been tracking the tech space, you know the landscape is shifting under our feet. But Apple's approach, it's brilliantly contrarian. So we're going to break down their strategy layer by layer. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll look at Apple's intelligent fortress, their market leadership in tough times, the shift to invisible AI, that massive financial machine of theirs, and finally, the risks and future challenges ahead. Let's get right to it. Section 1. Apple's intelligent fortress. To really understand Apple in 2026, you gotta look at the blueprint of their approach right now, and just how stark the contrast is with the rest of the market. Out in the wild, it's complete chaos. You've got AMD fighting this brutal chiplet war, and hyperscalers sprinting in an exhausting cloud AI race. It's loud, it's public, and it is insanely expensive. But Apple? They aren't even trying to run that race. Instead, they took their legendary walled garden, pulled up the drawbridge, and reinforced it into what we can call an intelligent fortress. They are building walls so high and an ecosystem so tight that the outside chaos barely even registers. Moving to Section 2, Market Leadership in Tough Times. Let's check out the outer walls of this fortress. Now, early 2026 was pretty rough economically. The global smartphone market actually shrank by 2.9% in the first quarter. People just weren't buying as many phones overall. But here's the kicker. Despite this shrinking pie, Apple didn't just survive the downturn, they absolutely thrived in it. And that brings us to this massive milestone, 21%. For the very first time ever, Apple grabbed the absolute global shipping lead in Q1, officially dethroning Samsung. I mean, think about that. In a shrinking market, they actually gained ground and took the crown. So you might be wondering, how'd they actually pull that off? Well, this victory was practically all fueled by the iPhone 17 line. The data shows this is literally their most popular lineup in history. And the crazy part is where that growth came from. They saw a staggering 30% jump in the Chinese market alone. That's a region that's historically been brutal for Western tech giants, which just proves the global appetite for this ecosystem is actually expanding. And because of those record-breaking sales, Apple's active installed base has expanded past 2.5 billion devices worldwide. That's 2.5 billion connected screens, pockets, and wrists. This sheer massive scale is the bedrock that fortifies their entire ecosystem. All right, Section 3, the invisible AI. Let's cross the moat and head inside the fortress. This is where we find Apple Intelligence. This was their big strategic AI pivot officially revealed at WWDC 2026. See, instead of chasing this universal cloud model like OpenAI or Google, trying to build a massive brain in the sky that knows a little bit about everything, Apple introduced an upgraded Siri that is laser-focused on personal context. And crucially, it processes directly on your device for maximum security. They aren't trying to build a know-it-all oracle, they're building a highly secure, deeply personal assistant. This whole strategy basically rests on 3 core pillars. First up, personal context. Apple is leveraging stuff a giant cloud chatbot simply doesn't have. Your emails, your photos, your messages. Second, invisible AI. We're not talking about a chat window you type into, it's a background agent that just quietly automates multi-step tasks across different apps. And third, privacy first. For Apple, privacy isn't some buried settings toggle anymore. It is a core product, custom designed to attract users who are, frankly, terrified of open cloud models. Which brings us to Section 4. Apple's financial machine. Deep inside this fortress is the vault. If we look at their hardware mix, the iPhone makes up nearly 59% of total revenue right now. Apple is successfully squeezing every drop out of the premium segment of the market. While competitors are stuck in this race to the bottom with low-end, low-margin devices, Apple is just sitting comfortably on the premium high ground. But hardware is only half the story. 77%. Let that sink in. That is the astounding gross margin of their services segment. By selling apps, subscriptions, and digital services to those 2.5 billion active devices, Apple is generating over $30 billion every single quarter. It's an unparalleled cash-generating engine. And just to show you how completely confident they are in this massive cash flow, the board greenlit a staggering $100 billion for a new stock buyback program. $100 billion.
That sends a definitive signal to the market that the vault is overflowing, and they have supreme confidence in their continued dominance.
Finally, Section 5, Risks and Future Challenges. Now, obviously, no fortress is totally immune to a siege. On the strength side, yes, they have this incredibly sticky, privacy-first ecosystem and a mountain of cash. But the risks are very real. The big one? Looming hardware constraints. The industry is bracing for significant deficits in DRAM and NAND memory later in 2026. Running heavy, on-device AI eats up a massive amount of fast memory. If the supply chain tightens up, that is going to severely weigh on Apple's ability to produce these advanced devices at scale. But look, hardware is really just logistics. The ultimate test here is the AI credibility test. The market is watching like a hawk. If this new Siri fails to execute as smoothly and invisibly as promised, it's a huge problem. Investors have basically given Apple a pass, allowing them a patient, wait-and-see approach while everyone else rushed to market. But if the execution is flawed, that patience is gone in a heartbeat, and the market will sharply question whether Apple waited too long. I love how the source material brilliantly sums this up with an analogy. In today's tech landscape, if a company like AMD is the scalable, heavy-lifting industrial truck of the era, Apple has positioned itself as the premium luxury mansion. You don't buy a mansion to haul freight. You buy it for the unparalleled, secure, and premium experience safely hidden inside its high walls. Which leaves us with this final, critical question as 2026 unfolds. Will Apple's execution of this on-device Siri actually uphold these towering walls of their intelligent fortress? Or will their patient, contrarian, wait-and-see approach end up fracturing the foundation if the tech doesn't perfectly deliver? It's literally a multi-trillion-dollar question. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes on how this technology actually performs out in the wild, and as always, keep learning.